Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Friday, June 9, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. GECOM ready for transparent LGE polls. Some results will be ready Monday. Family agrees for state to cremate body of SMALLIE, says Home Affairs Ministry. 1 dead, 1 critical in head-on collision of motorcycles. 90% of Because We Care cash grants already uplifted, says MANICKCHAND. And $253.8 million in contracts signed to rebuild St. George's High School. Now for the news in detail. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, is assuring that all systems are in place for a free, fair, and transparent voting process at the local government polls come Monday. In our lead story tonight, Rupasina Ryan reports that the elections body is also anticipating that results for some areas would be ready as early as Monday night, but results for other constituencies could take as long as 5 days.
At a press conference on Friday at the Command Center on 4th Street, Georgetown, GECOM chairperson retired Justice Claudette Singh said the entity is not only fully prepared but confident that the elections will be conducted in accordance with electoral laws.
As the chairperson, I will surely guarantee that these elections will be conducted in a free, fair, transparent, and credible manner.
Chief Election Officer Vishnu Prasad informed that from the position of the Secretariat, they are ahead of the listed activities under the work program approved.
I can assure you that we have been working with a work plan approved by the Commission for the conduct of the elections, and as we speak, we are ahead of the game insofar as the implementation of the listed activities are concerned.
Coming out of the 2020 general and regional elections, concerns were raised since some staffers within the establishment were compromised. However, Prasad acknowledged that there is no reason to fear as the work of the Commission will not be undermined.
I have established a direct working relationship with all of the managers, senior managers, mid-managers, supervisors. We have been working together, and I can assure you we have a very cohesive team that, to my mind, is focused and committed to acting within the parameters of their responsibilities towards efficient, effective, and satisfactory delivery of their functions.
Due to the small numbers of statement of polls in some local authority areas, it was assured that those results can be declared before midnight on Monday. Larger areas such as Georgetown will take longer. The law provides for up to 5 days for the announcement to be made. Results for those areas non-contesting can be released within the same night. GECOM has since accredited 10 local observer groups to oversee the electoral process. Rupasina Ryan, The Evening News.
General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic, Dr. Barajagdio, has contended that a stir has been created by the massive support shown for the PPPC party for local government elections, with the People's National Congress now worried about its strongholds. Here is Rupasina Ryan again with the details.
In the final days leading up to Monday's highly anticipated local government elections, PPP General Secretary Dr. Barajagdio gave an address at a public meeting at KT Georgetown on Thursday evening. There, he contended that the PPP's major competitor is aware that the party will score big at the polls, causing some amount of worry. Already, the PPPC is set to secure 291 of the 610 constituencies as the lone contester in those areas.
They've given up on Guyana because they know on Monday we will sweep many of the remaining areas across the country. But now they're worried about traditional strongholds. They're worried about Bartica and Linden and Georgetown and New Amsterdam, because people now in these areas recognize that after nearly 60 years in control of these places, that APNU has nothing to offer them.
Georgetown has been under control of the PNC for over 5 decades. According to Jagdeo, while the APNU has been dormant, the PPPC is on the ground sharing its vision on how it will enhance the capital city and other areas.
We are waging a fierce challenge with these candidates and you, the activists of the party and the supporters. And you know why? Because we have a message for every resident in these communities. Whether you're in Linden or New Amsterdam or Bartica or here tonight, because people are listening to us across the country, that we have come to you to say what we are going to do, how we're going to change every part of our country.
Meanwhile, Jagdeo also clarified that there will be no increase in taxes for households, including Georgetown.
The entire PNC leadership in the last week, because of the desperation, they're telling a lie that we intend to raise taxes. There will be no increase in rates and taxes in these local government areas.
Vice President Dr. Barra Jagdeo has assured that the new model production sharing agreement and the regulatory document would be completed in time and handed over to potential investors so that they can put in their final bids for the oil blocks offshore Guyana that are up for auction. More in this MANICKCHAND report.
At least 14 oil blocks are currently up for tender, including 11 in the shallow area and 3 in the deep sea area. Government has extended the deadline for the competitive bidding process from April to July 15, 2023. Recognizing that there is a tight timeline between now and the auction deadline mid-next month, Vice President Dr. Barra Jagdeo explained that the drafting of the legislative document is taking some time. He admitted, however, that with the country on the heels of holding the long overdue local government elections on June 12, the government's focus has been diverted.
We are going to return to this in earnest in a couple of days' time. We have to get back to that.
The PPPC administration is in the process of finalizing the new PSA that will guide the terms and conditions of future oil contracts. Under new conditions, Guyana stands to benefit from US $10 to $20 million signing bonus, 50-50 profit sharing after cost recovery, increased royalty from 2 to 10% fixed rate, imposition of a 10% corporate tax, and the lowering of the cost recovery ceiling to 65% from 75%. While he opted not to explicitly commit to another extension, the Vice President, however, assured that the new model PSA as well as the legislative documents will be completed soon.
I don't want to be quoted as saying there will be an extension, but we made a commitment to have these 2 documents available to the investors before they put in final bids. We're not going to waver on that commitment. We believe that our word is important in the markets around the world that people see. So those documents will be in place. And they would have adequate time to study those and then make their bid, whatever the timing is.
Already, United States oil giant ExxonMobil, who along with its co-venturers are operating the oil-rich Stabroek Block, has indicated that it is awaiting the final terms of the new PSA before it makes a decision on bidding for those oil blocks that are up for auction. The 2016 oil contract for the Stabroek Block, signed between the ExxonMobil-led co-venturers and the then APNU-AFC government, pegs cost recovery at 75%. The remaining 25% of revenues is split 50-50 between the government and the co-venturers, while the country also gets a mere 2% royalty from total revenues. The PSA has come under heavy criticisms over the years, with calls for renegotiation, something which both government and Exxon said could destroy investors' confidence in the Guyanese economy. Reporting for the Evening News, MANICKCHAND.
Tasia Dickinson reports that a total of 25 contracts have been issued for the rehabilitation of miscellaneous and urban roads throughout Region 4. Here are the details.
During the contract signing ceremony on Friday, Public Works Minister Juan Edgel noted that the $809 million in road works are set to be completed within a 12-month duration. He also highlighted the importance for contractors to employ persons within the communities they are working.
All contractors are being urged to employ labor from the communities where you are executing your contract. That's a public policy of the government. When you're doing a job in a community, engage people from that community.
Additionally, 3 roads will also be constructed in Sophia under the Urban Roads Program.
Under our Urban Roads Program, today we are awarding contracts for 3 roads in Sophia. The intent is that we'll be doing about 30 roads in Sophia in 2023. We are awarding 3 roads today that has already been evaluated and ready.
The design features rehabilitation of existing alignments to either asphaltic concrete or rigid pavement. Communities that will benefit include Annandale, Mosquito Hall, Better Hope, Pleasance, Monrepos, Diamond, Grove, 6th Street Helena in Mahaica, and Sophia. Tasia Dickinson, The Evening News.
Coming up, family agrees for state to cremate body of SMALLIE, says Home Affairs Ministry, and PAHO launches high-level commission on mental health COVID-19 in Guyana. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Did you know that when you leave your property unoccupied and unmanaged, it deteriorates much faster than you can imagine? Then before you know it, much of your hard-earned investment is wasted. At Hand in Hand Trust Corporation, property management is our business. Whether you travel for long periods, live overseas, or have several properties that require managing, let us at Hand in Hand Trust Corporation take care of this for you. Your property is safe with us. Hand in Hand Trust Corporation Incorporated, a member of the Hand in Hand Group of Companies.
Well, Mr. Smart, election in the air again, buddy. But how often if we can hear stories about dead people and overseas people voting again?
Well, Sunil, I can't say if you will hear that, but I know you can't cheat in voting at elections.
Why you say that?
Because if you try to cheat, you will be caught. And when you're caught, you will be prosecuted. And if found guilty, you will go to jail or pay a fine or both.
So how they can catch me if I try to cheat?
How? GECOM has several measures in place to identify if anyone attempts to cheat. For example, like pretending to be a voter that he or she is not. And those measures include checking the ID cards and the folio with voters' photos and any other information on it to verify that they are who they claim to be. So anyone who attempts to vote illegally will be immediately arrested by the police.
You're right, Mr. Smart. Anyway, thanks for educating me why nobody can vote by cheating.
Anytime, Sunil. Anytime, man. Anytime.
For more information, contact the GECOM hotlines on 225-0277-9, 226-6557, or 223-9650, or visit www.gecom.org.gy. LGE is Monday, June 12.
Look out! The Oreos belong to us.
No, they belong to whoever finds them first.
Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
Sallie's Boutique is the place to shop when looking for quality high-end men and women footwear, wristwear, wallets, and clothing. Follow us on Instagram, Sallie's Boutique GY. We're located at Charlotte Street between Camp and Wellington Streets. Contact us on 231-7519. That's 231-7519. WhatsApp 613-9578. That's 613-9578. Sallie's Boutique, the new home of Clarks.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Family members of death row prison escapee Mark Royden Williams, aka Smalley, who was recently shot and are raising concerns over the state's handling of the man's body. However, in this LaWanda McAllister report, we learned from the Home Affairs Ministry that an agreement on funeral arrangements was arrived at between the sister of the deceased and the prison authorities. Here are the details.
During a press conference held on Friday, father of killed death row inmate Royden Williams, also known as Smalley, raised some concerns regarding the state's handling of the matter. Morris Williams and the family's attorney Ronald Daniels are claiming that prison authorities refused to hand over the body of the convicted murderer. As such, the family said they are considering legal action.
Initially, we received a response from the Attorney General indicating that the state had no difficulties in releasing the body for burial. The Attorney General, however, subsequently indicated that the body is in the lawful custody of the state and the state would not be releasing the body for burial. We were told that the body would be cremated and that the family would be permitted to attend, I take it for granted, what is tantamount to service facilitated by the prison. As far as we're concerned, the state has no authority in law or in convention to detain the body of Mr. Williams, and the body of Mr. Williams properly should be handed over to his family for burial.
One of the main contentions raised by the family is a suspicious condition of Smalley's body.
Wednesday, I went to visit Royden and see his body. There was a lot of bullet holes and a lot of taking off the tattoo off his skin.
Despite the family's efforts, Smalley was cremated at the Memorial Gardens crematorium on Friday afternoon. In response to the family's concerns, the Ministry of Home Affairs issued a statement explaining that the prison escapee's sister had agreed with prison officials on the arrangements for the funeral. Further, it was explained that unless Williams's convictions are overturned by a court, his body will remain in their custody according to the law. They said the pending appeals by the family do not change this position. Smalley, who escaped from custody with his accomplice Odell Roberts, was fatally shot during an alleged confrontation with members of the joint services at 33 Miles Bartica, Pataro on May 31st. Williams escaped on May 19th from the Mazaruni prison, a maximum security facility, following an exchange of gunfire with prison officers. For the Evening News, I am LaWanda McAllister.
One person is now dead and another is in critical condition after a head-on collision involving two motorcycles in the Blackbush Polder community. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports.
Dead is 20-year-old Navindra Budu of Maibikuri North, Blackbush Polder, a security guard who was attached to Sureway Security and performed duties at the Maibikuri Hospital. The injured man has been identified as 23-year-old Marvin Narain of the same community. The two motorcyclists were reportedly heading in opposite directions when the crash occurred along the Maibikuri Public Road. They were picked up in unconscious conditions and taken to the Maibikuri Hospital and subsequently transferred to the New Amsterdam Hospital and then later to the Georgetown Hospital, where Boodoo passed away on Friday morning. The accident in question occurred at about 17:30 hours according to the police. Boodoo's uncle said he had gone to the bank to uplift his salary, while Narayan's father said he sent his son to purchase cassava.
What them boy say? Says I can't pack up. Brian a coming from Adventure, and you get this next guy a ride out behind the canter. So both of the two can see one another, and then collect one another.
When he passed away?
This morning we received a call, so he passed away.
He come home, and he buy island change out the motorbike aisle. He come home walk. I'm just said, they go buy cassava, so I will make a soup. And he beat and he gone out, and then 1/2 hour after me he reached the hospital. The accident, that is it.
Boodoo reportedly suffered a fractured skull and broken legs, while Narayan also suffered a fractured skull and a broken leg. Both motorcyclists were reportedly wearing helmets at the time of the crash.
But Brian is a very good bye to the family, and also me will miss Brian. Because anything, I call Brian, so Brian came with vehicle to wash. Brian, the people call for go and collect them, you go come up and reach you. Anything, Brian. You go make on two grumble or you sleep, you go argue up man and thing. You still do it, anything, Brian. I will miss Brian. Brian is a very good guy in the community. Never get on problem with nobody. He always smile, laugh. Up to this morning, people talk about Brian never make on problem.
Meanwhile, the investigation continues. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Following last July's electrical fire that destroyed the St. George's High School in Georgetown and displaced hundreds of students, the Education Ministry has today signed 6 contracts amounting to $253.8 million for reconstruction of that school. Pooja Rambaran tells us more.
After a competitive public bidding process advertised since last September, the $253.8 million in contracts were awarded among 4 contractors on Friday. Education Minister MANICKCHAND explained that the new building was divided into lots for different contractors to tackle to allow for a more efficient process.
Based on the advice of engineers and experts, because I am not, we had the design catered in a way that allows several contractors to be working simultaneously with a view to getting this done in a 5 to 7 month period. We tried to divide it up for many reasons, so that more people could get opportunities to work in the country and benefit from these resources, but also so that we could have simultaneous work happening at the same time, so that the end product comes back to us in a shorter period of time.
BM Property Investment received the contracts to complete the superstructure and block works. A. Augustine & Sons General Contracting was given responsibility for the plumbing works. Cummings Electrical Company Limited was given the contract to complete electrical works, and Superior Supplies and General Construction were awarded the contracts to complete both the external works and the finishing works. Minister MANICKCHAND advised the contractors to be mindful of their contractual obligations.
If you can't get this done, we'll have to be firm on implementing the provisions of the contract for liquidated and other damages. I hope you're understanding what happens when we don't have these schools up. What happens is literally children can't get educated.
The new 2-story building will be constructed at the school's original location in Georgetown. It is expected to accommodate up to 400 students and will include 12 classrooms, 6 labs, and a canteen. Based on recommendations by the Guyana Fire Service, Permanent Secretary Alfred King explained that this new building will also feature fire escape stairs, escape doors, fire alarms, extinguishers, limited timber usage, metal ceilings, and fire retardant panels. Last July, St. George's High engulfed in flames in what the GFS determined to be a fire that was electrical in origin. Since then, the displaced students have been accommodated in various schools across the city. Minister MANICKCHAND said that the destruction of these schools only worsened the space constraint that already existed within the Georgetown Education District.
Within the next month and a half, we are going to get an entire sixth form block at Queen's College, at the Bishop's High School, St. Rose's, which we met on the ground, that's going to be up. East Ruimveldt is going to be finished. St. Winifred's is going to be finished. North Ruimveldt, and that's all going to be finished by the end of June, mid-July latest. On the East Coast, the Good Hope Secondary is going to be completed, and on the East Bank, the Yarrow Cabra Secondary is going to be completed. With the completion of those schools, we should see on the East Coast, on the Upper East Bank, and in Georgetown, enough spaces for children to sit and get a high-quality education.
Pooja Rambran for the Evening News.
As the deadline for collecting the Because We Care cash grant approaches, it has been revealed that some 90% of the monies allotted have already been collected by parents and guardians. Here is Pooja Rambran again with the details.
This Education Ministry-led initiative commenced on Monday and offered parents and guardians a chance to collect a $40,000 cash grant per child to help their educational needs. Any child attending a private or public school from the nursery level to grade 10 or those registering for Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination were eligible. The period for the upliftment of the grants ended on Friday, but Education Minister MANICKCHAND noted that provisions will be made for those who have not yet received the grants.
It's not supposed to end today. We still have some far-flung places. For example, we attempted to go to Itiringmang yesterday, and that was a disaster because of the weather. So they actually got there and had to turn back. I know some places like, for example, Carisparrow, we have to get a particular type of aircraft. Only the chopper can land there. That wasn't available to us. We have a few places left. We're not neglecting those. We just have to work on them. Distribution was in the mid-90s, 90%. We're doing some mop-up. So everywhere in every region, there are people who couldn't make it for various reasons. Somebody was in the hospital, somebody died, and so on. So we have one final day in every region where there's a central point that people can go to pick this up.
She added that the ministry has made continuous efforts to best accommodate parents and guardians in uplifting this grant that is expected to increase to at least $50,000 within the next 2 years.
In the first year, we did this because the ministry wasn't prepared. None had been done on the APNU, so we did it kind of late in August and the last week of August. And parents were very clear, look, if you're giving us something, give us as early as you can so that we have options. We can go shopping, we can turn down offers, we could compare, we could get the best deal and so on. Giving me at the end of August is late. It doesn't help me as much as it can. So last year we tried to do it in July, which we did. But to do it in July, we had to get the teachers out on their holiday. And they were very willing, but it's hard to tell people. So a lot of people go out of town, go away, and so on for their holiday. So we had to bring people back off their holiday to do us this favor, to work with us for a week. This year, we're doing it now because test begins next week. Everybody knows that. So we can't do it next week. We can't do it the following week, and school closes the next week, so we end up back in the same holiday period. This was the only time we could have done this if we're to hear our parents and hear our teachers.
This year, over 214,000 children of public and private schools were expected to benefit from the cash grant program. This equates to some $8.6 billion in disposable income being made available to families nationwide. Pooja Rambran for the Evening News.
Recognizing the need to better address the detrimental impacts on mental health that the COVID-19 pandemic has had on individuals, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, today launched a high-level commission on mental health and COVID-19 in Guyana. Here is Pooja Rambran once more with the details.
This commission, led by former Costa Rica Vice President Epsi Campbell-Barr, spent the past year analyzing the effects of the pandemic against the background of the pre-pandemic state of mental health. After identifying priority areas in mental health for the Americas and consulting experts to develop appropriate recommendations, this commission launched a new agenda for mental health in the Americas on Friday as well. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, in a virtual message, commended the Commission's efforts and signaled Guyana's commitment to adhering to this new agenda.
The Government of Guyana thanks the High-Level Commission for creating a new agenda for mental health in the Americas. This package of policies and actions focuses on universal health coverage, human rights, equity, and non-discrimination. It also empowers individuals with mental health conditions and their families and promotes the advantages of multi-sectorial collaboration with different sectors and actors can share financial resources, knowledge, and skills. Guyana supports all 10 recommendations outlined in the report. It is committed to collaborating with other nations in the Americas to address mental health challenges and enhance the overall mental health well-being of the peoples of the region.
The 10 recommended policies within the report include strengthening suicide prevention, improving mental health data and research, improving quality of financing for mental health, and adopting a gender-transformative approach to mental health. Minister Anthony further expanded on the state of mental health resources in Guyana.
Even before the pandemic, Guyana had inadequate mental health structures, obstacles to assessing quality mental health services, and insufficient funding contributing to poor overall health in the country. To tackle this issue, the Guyanese government has prioritized mental health and is working to address growing mental health challenges faced by the population. It is clear that there have been significant actions taken to prioritize mental health in the National Health Sector Plan. These actions include giving mental health a higher priority, adding it to the essential healthcare packages, allocating more funding to mental health services, strengthening the governance structure, reviewing and updating the mental health laws in line with human rights, and developing a process for community-based mental health services for people of all ages.
Pooja Rambran for the Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Saturday, June 10th at 23 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Saturday, June 10th at 9:25 hours for a period of 1.5 hours.
Golden Jaguars sharpening skills ahead of Gold Cup, and Grimmon stars in GCB Under-19 Girls Tournament. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by MACCORP, coming up on the other side of the break.
Optic offers great patient care that is tailored for my entire family.
At Optic, a wide selection of affordable optical frames and optical services are available to fit your budget.
At Optic, my family is provided with comprehensive eye examination and access to their ophthalmology services, all under one roof.
Optic takes pride in delivering exceptional customer service and a unique experience to you, our customers.
Optic Vision Care is a company that is Guyanese born and grown that will help you take care of your precious eyes.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Buck up. The Oreos belong to us. No, they belong to whoever finds them first.
Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles.
Credit! Yeah, ready? We are short so far. Look along, me tell you, buy one generator. Now the picnic online test and blackout come and cut off everything.
Sorry, son. Radhika. Abby go tomorrow.
Abby go now.
At Sylvie's, we stock products from more than 22 different sectors in mining, construction, food processing, vulcanizing, home improvements, and more.
Are you getting generator?
So this is a 3000 better star generator. This will work for your lights, your fan, your TV, and your fridge.
Well, Abby can buy one for Abby and
Yes.
Abby can buy one for Mommy too.
Yeah, and mommy could even key start it, cause all you have to do is hook up the battery and
Visit us today at 31 High in Hatfield Street, where our friendly and knowledgeable team members are willing to assist you. You can also call us on 227-6243 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 and drop by our website at www.sylviesonline.com.
Abby go buy one dal puri mill.
One plucking machine, one pressure washing machine, one juice dispenser, one engine, one pepper grinding machine, one water pump, one sugar cane juicer, circle sir. We gotta get alright then that food warmer. We gotta get. What are you looking at?